You see, I ain't never known my papa or my mom.
Janie saw her
My
life
grandmama raised
like a
me.
great tree in leaf, with the things suffered, things enjoyed. She was stretched on her back beneath the pear tree, soaking in the alto chant of the visiting bees, the gold of the sun, and the panting breath of the breeze,
and the wind
when the
talk.
inaudible voice of it all
I told the
came
seeds
to her.
when they was falling.
She saw
I sure
a
hope y'all fall on
dust-bearing
soft
bee
ground.
sink into the sanctum of a bloom. The thousand sister calyxes
That year,
arched to meet the
something
love
about me was
embrace,
different.
and the ecstatic
It's
shiver
like my life
of the
was
tree
starting
from root to tiniest
right at that
branch,
moment.
creaming in every blossom and frothing with delight. So this was a marriage. She had been summoned to behold a revelation. Then Janie felt a pain, remorseless, sweet, that left her limp and languid. After a while, she got up from where she was and went over the little garden field entire. She was seeking confirmation of the voice and vision, and everywhere she found and acknowledged answers. A personal answer for all other creations except herself. She felt an answer seeking her, but where? When? How? She found herself at the kitchen door and stumbled inside. In the air of the room were flies tumbling and singing, marrying and giving in marriage. When she reached the narrow hallway, she was reminded that her grandmother was home with a sick headache. She was lying across the bed, asleep, so Janie tipped on out of the front door. Oh, to be a pear tree, any tree in bloom, with kissing bees singing of the beginning of the world. She was 16. She had glossy leaves and bursting buds, and she wanted to struggle with life, but it seemed to elude her. Where were the singing bees for her? Nothing on the place nor in her grandma's house answered her. She searched as much of the world as she could from the top of the front steps, and then went on down to the front gate and leaned over to gaze up and down the road, looking, waiting, breathing short with impatience, waiting for the world to be made. Through pollinated air, she saw a glorious being coming up the road. In her former blindness, she had known him as shiftless Johnny Taylor, tall and lean. That was before the golden dust of pollen had beglamored his rags and her eyes. In the last stages of Nanny's sleep, she dreamed of voices. Voices far off but persistent and gradually coming nearer. Janie's voice. Janie talking in whispery snatches with a male voice she couldn't quite place. That brought her wide awake. She bolted upright and peered out of the window and saw Johnny Taylor lacerating her Janie with a kiss. Janie? The old woman's voice was so lacking in command and reproof, so full of crumbling dissolution, that Janie half believed that Nanny had not seen her, so she extended herself outside of her dream and went inside of the house. That was the end of her childhood. Nanny's head and face looked like the standing roots of some old tree that had been torn away by storm, foundation of ancient power that no longer mattered. The cooling Palmer Christie leaves that Janie had bound about her grandma's head with a white rag had wilted down and become part and parcel of the woman. Her eyes didn't bore and pierce. They diffused and melted Janie, the room, and the world into one comprehension. Janie, You's a woman now. So, no, Nanny, no. I ain't no real one yet. The thought was too new and heavy for Janey. She fought it away. Nanny closed her eyes and nodded a slow, weary affirmation many times before she gave it voice. Yeah, Janey, you's got your womanhood on you. So I might as well tell you what I've been saving up for a spell. I wants to see you married right away. Me? Married? No, Nanny, no ma'am. What I know about a husband? What I seen just now is plenty for me, honey. I don't want no trashy nigger. No breath and britches like Johnny Taylor, using your body to wipe his foots on. Nanny's words made Janey's kiss across the gatepost seem like a manure pile after a rain. Look at me, Janey. Don't sit there with your head hung down. Look at your old grandma. Her voice began snagging on the prongs of her feelings. I don't want to be talking to you like this. Fact is, I done been on my knees to my maker many's a time, asking please for him not to make the burden too heavy for me to bear. Nanny, I didn't mean nothing bad. That's what makes me scared. You don't mean no harm. You don't even know where harm is at. I'm old now. Now, I can't always be guiding your feet from harm and danger. I wants to see you married right away. Oh, I'm gonna marry offhand like that. I don't know nobody. The Lord will provide. He know I done bore the burden in the heat of the day. Now, somebody done spoke to me about you long time ago. I ain't said nothing because that wasn't the way I placed you. I wanted you to school out and pick from a higher bush and a sweeter berry, but that ain't your idea, I see. Nanny, who that been asking you for me? Brother Logan Killix. He's a good man, too. No, Nanny, no ma'am. Is that what he been hanging around here for? He looked like some old skullhead in the graveyard.
You see, I ain't never known my papa or my ma. My grandmama raised me. I was born sort of knowing things, like how the trees and the wind talk. I told the seeds when they was falling, I sure hope y'all fall on soft ground. That year, something about me was different. It's like my life was starting right at that moment.
Hey, Johnny Taylor.
Doing, Janie?
I'm all right.
How long you been letting Johnny Taylor kiss on you? What is wrong with you?
Ain't nothing wrong with me, Nanny. We was
I
just...
see what you was just doing. You just letting that trashy boy, that breath and bitches, wipe his feet on you.
He wasn't wiping his feet on me.
You know, the woman is the mule of the world.
I ain't mean no harm, Nanny.
You don't even know what harm is, girl. Yeah, you're gonna get married right away.
To Johnny Taylor?
No, child. I'd wanted you to school out. But that ain't your idea, I see.
Well, I ain't ready to get married.
Oh, so you don't want to marry off decent like, huh? You want to be like your mama was. You want to run wild. Break my heart. Someone good and decent's been asking after you for a while now. Brother Logan Killix.
Logan Killix? That's what he been hanging around here for? He looked like some old skull head in a graveyard.
Brother Killix got 60 acres. And he's good and decent.
I don't care what he got.